Gender inequality is as pervasive as it is entrenched and has for eons had an adverse effect on women and girls the world over. We have systemically and systematically been oppressed and suppressed, and our basic human rights violated at the hands of men who are still controlling the social, political, and economic power and capital of the world. By eliminating gender inequality and empowering women, it would raise the productive potential of 1 billion Africans and in turn significantly boost the continent's development potential. But most importantly, it will promote good democratic governance. When it comes to democratic governance, equal access for men and women in decision-making is a prerequisite. It has been proven that women in decision-making positions constitutes an important factor in creating better policies that directly affects the lives of women and girls in particular and society in general. Why? Because women understand the challenges they face more intimately than men. According to the 2018 World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report, on average it will take up to 108 years to achieve gender equality in health, education, economic opportunity, and political leadership. For sub-Saharan Africa, it will take 135 years. As it stands, the world is significantly off track to achieve gender equality. And though the political elites had agreed to the UN Sustainable Development Goal 5 to achieve gender equality and to empower all women and girls by 2030, at the current rate of progress, the world will not achieve gender equality until 2127. It is now 2019. And in terms of the women's representation and politics and leadership, only 23% of women are represented in parliaments. This statistic, together with others at a macro level, is indicative of a deep-rooted problem at a societal level. When I established the women-led movement, which is a grassroots movement for all women in South Africa, I had the following strategic objectives in mind. Firstly, to establish the largest and most influential women-led grassroots movement in South Africa, as I have seen the vast power of organized movements to drive global and national action on issues that adversely affects them. As an organized movement, we will be able to better articulate our interests and form a strong constituency to advance and influence laws and policy as a collective. Women-led movement also has the potential to eventually compete in local and national elections, producing its own political candidates, coupled with its own cultivated electoral support base. Secondly, to increase the representation and participation of women in political and public life and decision-making, and amplifying their voices at local government level in particular, as this will facilitate gender equality and advance the achievement of human rights and accountability for women, especially at community level. Lastly, to promote, through education, campaigning and advocacy, a culture for respect of human rights and the Constitution, and engendering a more responsible, more active and engaged citizenry. In conclusion, Nelson Mandela acknowledged the powerful role of women during the anti-apartheid movement when he said, "The women were courageous, persistent and relentless, and their protests against past laws set a standard for anti-government protests that was never equaled. We will therefore not wait to be offered a seat at the table of patriarchy in order to negotiate settlements on issues that is directly affecting 3.7 billion of the world's population. We will bring our own table, and over time, as a collective and through strategic action, influence each and every sector of society." Thank you.